Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Troublemaker, and this is the Wargame Cup 2012. The map is the River of Blood, possibly caused by pollution. Who knows? We're going to see a Pact versus Pact match, and this one is between the blue player, his name is Starkweather, and the red player, his name is... Okay, this is going to sound terrible, here we go. It's German Stratagem. It's German Stratig. His name is It's and Starkweather. That's good. Yeah. Pretty slow week for the Wargame Cup. Of course, we are getting down to the nitty-gritty. It's round 4, so there have been, what? Over 1,200 people? No, more than that. 1,300 people eliminated from the tournament so far. So we're looking at the final 64 or so. And the quality of the matches has gotten extremely high. Even the lowest of the lowest players are putting in great efforts, and you're seeing people learning to play the game and playing effectively. We've seen a lot of top players almost get wiped out, and this match is going to be between two relatively unknowns. And if you're a top player, like, it might be worth noting who you might be playing, because either of these players can realistically win the whole tournament just by knocking out a top contender. We see a big clump of units here coming in to take the middle, but it's a lot of infantry, a lot of anti-tank teams, and yeah, one Tunguska, why not? Another giant cluster of infantry. Looks like they're going to go take India, and bravo. So a very adventurous play here by It's German Stratagem, who's actually going to continue pushing forward and deny Juliet. And he might even go further this, because this is a lot of infantry. This is a very classic infantry rush, and the idea is simple. All these units combined are worth 100 points. They can do more than 100 points worth of damage. And actually, he's also taking Gulf. He's got another group of units, so he's going for somewhat of an infantry on. Might not be planned properly, because this group of infantry should be arriving at the same time as this group of infantry, but here we go. He might be going straight for the main base. Hard to say. T-64s are going to intercept, but it's actually not enough to really stop this. He can actually pick off a unit or two, but he can't stop this. And already he's hit 5 points for the vehicle. Each one of those kills is not going to be worth the ammunition, and that's kind of a problem. The infantry are piling into the middle, and they're actually going for blood. They're going for Bravo, which is the reinforcement point. And he's also got a group of infantry running into India. However, he has a large group of infantry running away from this base. He has all his tank destroyers actually following this flank of infantry here. And he's going to leave this base completely isolated. And that's going to be a problem. He's coming in. These Scots do not have weapons, so he has to actually dump these infantry on top of things in order to do damage. That's one of the trades of having insanely cheap units. And here he goes. He's going to start dropping. And... Command armor is relatively far away, relatively safe. He has to continue moving, not dump them all, and that's exactly what he's doing. And here we go. We can see here that there's another flank infantry. Motostrels, he's being jumped on top of Matsutsens. There are TO-55 tanks here to burn them alive. He has to get rid of this tank immediately. You see on the bottom here, this flank of infantry are coming around the back. This is the kind of trade-off for doing an all-in like this, as giant clusters of infantry are coming towards. He is not pulling his command armor in time. The BTR 60 Pies are coming in from the back flank, but not really enough to deal with this amount of infantry. He is definitely going to lose Gulf. He's pulling his command armor just in time. The Dana is also moving. This is the artillery weapon that he needs right now to fire in this location. He has infantry spread all over the place. Looks like he's going for blood. The command armor also being pulled back by Starkweather. Motostrels, these are mostly getting cleaned up here. Starkweather is doing a great job of defending this, and he's already cleaning up on points, and relatively minor amounts of damage were done here. Not really worth the trade of high amounts of infantry, but we see this giant cluster of infantry still not really stopped by its German Stratig. He's going to get the Tunguska. The Tunguska is a very, very valuable vehicle. This will pay you alone. There is a transport helicopter here. It's getting too close, though. It can actually get shot down. Command armor is being rushed forward, probably going to go for Juliet, but he still doesn't have a reinforcement point, which is the important key to this strategy. He's also going to get the transport helicopter. The Dana desperately trying to reposition itself so it doesn't get caught by the path of this Russian gang of hoodlums. And he needs to use this Dana right now on possibly right here on this field ahead, just to kind of knock down some of these numbers. But he's not. He's trying to save what he can. The Conquerors are actually doing a very, very good job. There's tank destroyers here as well. They're going to help clean up a lot of these vehicles, strain some of these infantry, and yeah, he's actually going to do a lot of damage here. He's slowly but surely coming back. The artillery unit is finally pounding on this location, a very rampage location. The BTRs are unloading the Conquerors. Conquerors, of course, don't have a lot of tank power, so that's a big deal. And finally, this push has been shut down. Starkweather is still doing some very significant damage, however, despite this mostly being shut down. He might even be able to drop on top of a bunch of vehicles here and maybe take position in some of these key structures here, like this Canadian Barrels factory. Seems to have no barrels in it right now. And he does in fact dump on top of the Montschützens. The Montschützens will actually clean this up. There's a SPU here as well. The BTR-60 Pi moves in, knocked in immediately by the Montschützens. And he is still in a little bit of a position to do some more damage. The push is still down, and right now when you're this kind of player, you have to think yourself, like, how can I use these units effectively to cause future damage? Right now they're worth 0 points. I gotta make them worth 10, 15 points, worth something. And Starkweather is gonna take a massive lead from this, though. That's one thing that is for sure. However, everything's still rooting, moving out of control, and looking at the size of the damage, the push by its German Stratig has done very little damage. It has done 0 damage here, and he has a very solidified position here. And looking at Starkweather, however, he still has middle, but unfortunately the points combination, which is 6 here, gives a significant lead to Starkweather. And this commander, the second commander, has to get into a reinforcement point to actually be valuable, which is kind of tricky. The command armor is probably going to have to go take Juliet for now. That would be smart. And just sit there. But keep in mind, there's also a lot of units here, especially these Conquerors, that can do some pretty significant stuff. The BTR Zalos are moving in. These Motor Strelki can actually still be useful. They are in a jungle right now, which is the primacy land of the infantry. This BTR-60 Pi is actually running out of fuel, so he's going to relocate himself into a jungle and do some jungling. And Motor Strelki looks like they're running away into the open. Kind of dangerous. And will get sniped off by the BTR-70 Zalos. Quite the opener. Starkweather still has the lead, 300 points. And we're now going to enter this awkward mid-game, where basically the game's going to do a little bit of resetting. But whoa, Starkweather is actually going to continue doing a little bit of a push forward. He's got a lot of Zalos coming in, moving into position. And the key for him right now, as far as the tactic goes, he wants to secure this area right here, this wooded area. If he can stick infantry in here, he can actually effectively deny middle for its German Stratig. All the while we're seeing a Motor Strelki trying to make a rush for the Swiss Barrels factory, which of course has no Swiss barrels at the moment, so he's caught off guard, not able to do anything. Sometimes it's really important to have units just stage in positions. And there's a lot of weird units that can actually come into play, but maybe they won't, because there's some BTR-60 Pies coming in to clean up this group of Brzikiglas. And Dana versus 60 Pi, oh my god, Dana's actually shaken. He could actually, no, it's panic, okay. He should not be able to kill the Dana. The Dana is going to go down, oh my god. That was close. He actually turned off one of his weapons too. That is not good. And it looks like we're going to see 2 Danas from Starkweather as well. And he's going to try and soften up this middle location here, where the woods are, for an inevitable attack. He has all his forces kind of ready to take this middle location. And securing this middle location will in fact secure him a victory for the game. The only thing that Stratig has going for him right now is he has control of 2 very high point bases. He doesn't really have any sort of units. He's about 300 points down in units, so he's got to make up 300 more points in units. It takes about 15 minutes to make up that difference, and so I suspect what we'll see for now is a lot of shelling out from Starkweather. He'll slowly mass forces for a push here, and then he should, theoretically, push into this middle location and just wipe it out. No saying he'll get the command armor. Oh, speak of the devil, this Motor Strelki actually landed himself a job in this little factory here. And he's actually getting combat levels from this. Interesting. And Brzikiglas finally caught. Brzikiglas will go down. Group of Motor Strelki. There's a BTR-60 Pi. There's 2 here going to meet it, so pretty unfair trade. And this one's actually out of fuel, so it can't actually escape or anything. It's going to die. Yeah. lots of infantry coming out for its German Stratig. He's going for a very defensive play right now because he's down so many points, and it looks like he's just going to try and wait for his opponent to make a mistake. Not particularly favorable strategy. He's also using these to secure his position in the middle. He wants to create a nice line of infantry. He also wants some tank destroyers and tanks, and it doesn't look like he's positioning himself for an attack though. And actually, here's something crazy. He's going for a third command armor. So hypothetically, what he might try and do is just slowly push up to Juliet, wipe out this group here, and then put this third command armor at Juliet. And that's almost certainly possible. That's what he's doing. All while artillery shelling continue on this location from the two Danas. The Dana of it's Germany. He's actually got 3 Danas now. Is actually going to get used to randomly shell out the Bravo base, hoping to hit, like, it's just hoping to hit command armor. It should of course be used in this battle here, and he's actually pushing forward, taking the jungle location from Starkweather, and this is actually very bold and very smart. And here comes the artillery fire pounding on these infantry units, causing heavy morale damage, heavy splash damage, and just doing significant damage, period. They're in fact stunned now and will be unable to fire. The Matschützens are given the significant advantage they need to take this jungle location. And where's the commander at? It's going to move up into Juliet, and he's going to take that. So he's going to now be a huge economic win right now. However, it looks like we also have another command out from Starkweather. He's actually taken the Echo base as well. So mirrored moves, except its German actually has a significant advantage. And because this map has such high points totals, it's actually led to a lot of helicopter endgame play, in which you just blow a ton of cash on really high veterancy, very potent rocket shooting helicopters and just snipe out command armors. Will that be how this ends? Well, probably not, but it could happen. So command armor actually going to move over to Charlie. This is unexpected. And he has a few units here at this Charlie location, and he's going to rally in some more anti-aircraft units. I think a lot of people have been, and rightfully so, very afraid of helicopter all-ins. Helicopter all-ins have dominated the last 10 minutes of probably the last 10 games I've casted, and it's exciting, it's interesting, and it always catches people off guard, and it always seems to be the same thing that happens. One player makes big pushes forward. The other player uses a lot of defensive type units like infantry to slow down and push, and all the while that person runs forward with a bunch of helicopters and just snipes at command. Speaking of command armor getting frightfully low in health, this one hasn't actually been routed, and he's actually going to lose the Foxtrot location. He's got to relocate this command armor to somewhere else where the bombardment's not hitting. All the while, it looks like the Dana artillery fire of it's just hitting too far away. He needs to go for much closer targets. A lot of people want to go for sniping out commands, and unfortunately, oh, actually, he's bombarding the bombarder. That's actually what he's going for. It's a weird reflex response. You always want to hit somewhere where you know units are, and the most obvious place where units are is a location where they're firing artillery. There's not really enough units here for that to be worthwhile. Artillery have to be used on big clump units to be efficient, and right now, you know, we look at the it's German cam. He doesn't really know too much about positioning, and so he could actually stand to lose a couple of units just to figure out where he should be bombarding. Because right now it's just being used very inefficiently. There are some places you will know the units, like for example this forest here will most definitely have units, guaranteed, 110% guaranteed. You have to secure that jungle from infantry. This jungle as well will have units. Doesn't have a lot there, but it'll definitely have units. Running out of things to talk about. Looks like both players are going to be defending their reinforcement point. Reinforcement taking has kind of fallen in the tournament. It used to be very popular, but because this is a high income map, a lot of players have fallen out of favor with that. And he's going to restock up this BRDM before he sends it out, and he's going to, you know, it's going to get its health back up a little bit. Looks like that whole U-roll is going to get it about 3 more blocks of health. You don't want to put these low health commands into action because you can just have them lost so easily. And with that drained out, he's going to probably try and move his command back in position. Here we go, finally hitting a good area. Striking at... Nope, never mind, I lied. It's a road. He's firing on a road. So nothing in there. It's German Stratig is actually still coming back though. Not because he's firing effectively, but because he's firing. His opponent unfortunately has not been able to use his Danas that effectively. And because of that he's fallen apart. And just this is kind of a funny thing about the current metagame. As we get deeper and deeper into the game, more of these anti-aircraft units are popping out, and that's going to make tank all-inning so good. I suspect that by the end of the tournament, since everyone's going to be doing helicopter all-ins, people are just going to switch it up and do tank all-ins. Tank anti-aircraft all-ins. Like, that's just what's going to transform into. And big, giant volley of artillery. Where are they going to land at, though? Oh, he's firing at these Danas. That's a weird reaction. Oh well, it just looks silly from the observer eye, I guess. In this Rusky versus Rusky match, both players are taking positions around the map. It looks like the broader flank is in fact going to go off to its German Stratig, who has pretty much units everywhere. The more condensed flank will go off to Starkweather, and the big difference between the two is that a spread out flank has a better defensive position, and you lose less units to morale damage and splash damage, whereas group units will die to splash damage, morale, and but they're in a better position to actually move out themselves and do damage. There's a little bit of trade-off to both. Commander finally back in position, going to reclaim this middle location, and dear God, this is just a lot of artillery. Look, 2, 4, 5, 7, 11, 13, 14 artillery units, and really none of them are hitting anything. With the amount of money spent on these artillery units, he could have bought so many freaking tanks. Yeah, that's 90 each. So that's 900 points worth of artillery units being fired right now, and not particularly doing a lot of damage. However, he is hitting at a nice variety of locations, and not doing any damage with it. It's still a slow tinkering though, and luckily for him, his opponent seems to be doing roughly the same thing. He's got 4 Danas here. I think there's another 2 here, so that's 6 Danas. And this is the other side of the high points game, in which you can use expensive units like artillery units and continue to restock them over and over and over. And yeah, we have a lot of infantry actually coming out here, and some TO-55s for Starkweather. He might try and do a push with this. I'm not entirely convinced, so maybe if these Zolos came with him, he could push forward, clear out this area here. I don't know why he isn't bombarding this, and potentially take the game. Keep in mind, he is in the lead right now with 10 minutes left, and so the real onus, and that's spelled with a H, onus, is on actually Stratig to do something right now. And Stratig's strategy is actually to mass bombard with artillery. Now there are certain key parts, like if he was able to hit this location here, that would totally screw over the plans of Starkweather. And artillery spam is kind of scary to push into, because if you get hit with a bunch of unlucky shellings, your push becomes very disorganized and very easy to chop apart. And so the Zolo is going to rush forward by itself, I guess, and pick off this anti-aircraft vehicle. Now it is out of fuel, so he can't move around too much. It's got 21 fuel left. He's not going to want to move this too much. And yeah, just a lot of artillery spam going on right now. The end of this could actually just even come out to Luck, who has luckier shots. Because the way this match has been going, I just don't see it coming down to this push. And this push is organized. Like, it's going to go out. But it's not really going out. And here's a little thing. TO-55 flaming this woods here on the fire position command is very, very good. It doesn't do any damage with it. He needs to get a little bit closer. But now he knows that at least a little part of this woods is secure. It's those small kind of moves you have to do when preparing for these pushes. Using these TO-55s on fire position command. And they also do splash damage, area of effect damage. And so whenever you hit within the forest, you're going to do a fairly high amount of damage. We're now into the 5-minute marker, 6-minute marker of the match, and this giant cluster of units has not, in fact, pushed out yet. And it doesn't appear that its German's going to push out either. He is getting a large group of infantry, however, and some tanks, and he's really got to make a move pretty fast. He also has a smirch here, which he's completely burnt out, and he actually might try to take this echo flank here. Now, if you can get this T-55 in a good position, you can swipe this flamethrower tank, get this big battle tank, and take the game. Oh my god, it's German just got a lucky crit. And by lucky crit, I mean he has taken the lead by wiping out some random units with some Danas. And this is what I'm talking about. Now there's units in positions here, and suddenly Starkweather is in big trouble. In fact, they actually fired on the position where the big group of infantry are. He's got 2 minutes left. And here we go, the last minute ditch. There's about 100 points. He's got BTR Zalo's leading the charge. Here we go. Tanks going down. He needs to unload immediately. He's got to kill wherever he can. It's German. He's getting a huge point lead by this. He needs to just unload on some of these high value units. And here we go. He's unloading. T-55 looks like it might go down. We have 50 seconds left in the game. Artillery fires barraging this location. He's hitting this bridge location, and as these infantry pull back, they will in fact run into the barrage of stuff. A wise move by its German would actually be to retreat all of his units immediately and not engage. However, he is doing significant damage. He now has a 200-point lead. Montschützens are going to run into these carriers. Lots of artillery barrage by both players. And this is the scary part. Starkweather is 150 points behind. 20 seconds left in the game. He's only 100 points behind. And it looks like most of his forces are flocking and spreading, and he might not be able to do it. 170, 130-point gain. Here from it's German. 300 points. It's so close, but looks like it will in fact go off to its German Stratig. He has now taken a 400, 500-point lead, and that's game. It all came down totally to luck of the draw, and if you are watching this, never let it come to the luck of the draw, because that will happen to you. Its German Stratig is actually a 2000 rated ELO player. Starkweather is actually an 1870 ELO rated player. That's insane, considering what playstyle they showed. You would suspect they were much lower. But I digress. Its German Stratig pushes forward in a minor victory with what I would call luck. Vicious amounts of luck. There's still many rounds. Its German Stratig will be facing somebody pretty severe next. And we'll see what the German is all about. Until then, my name is Troublemaker, and thank you for watching.